You are listening to TBR Radio presents the DIXIE Heritage Show, with your host, the director of DIXIE Heritage, Dr. Ed DeVries.
All this week, I've been listening to various outlets in the media telling me how Donald Trump is not going to win election. They're saying now they got polls that show Biden having as much as a 15-point lead. It's going to be a landslide. The president is a sinking ship. Now, of course, they're crucifying the president because of his having allegedly contracted COVID-19. I'll tell you what, I'm not worried about COVID-19 taking out the president. I'll tell you what I am worried about. I'm worried that perhaps certain people will use this as a means and a tool wherewith they can take out the president, and then they will blame it on COVID-19. And the reason why I think they might just take out the president is because I think that the powers that be are afraid. And the reason I think they're afraid is because if you'll remember just not quite 4 years ago now, or maybe it was 4 years ago, the media was going on and on. Trump can't win. Trump can't win. Trump can't win. Trump's going to lose. Trump's going to lose. Trump's going to lose. Trump didn't lose. And so for all of you who are upset right now, for all of you who are worried right now, for all of you who are despondent right now, I want for this show to be an encouragement to you, because I want to play some clips from 4 years ago. And, they're comical now looking back at them, but for all of you who are afraid that the president might not pull this through, I want to give you some hope and some encouragement because, as I said, they were saying the same thing 4 years ago. So let the montage begin.
He's not going to be the nominee, Chuck. I mean, as you know, I'm ahead in Ohio.
So, Jenny, could he actually win?
No freaking way!
He will be tempted to run, be predictably shellacked.
Do not tell me that Donald Trump is in this to win this, okay? He's a sideshow.
This is going to turn a three-ring circus into a freak show.
He's not running for president. He's running for Keep Me Famous.
I thought this was maybe some strategy for a new reality show.
How should Republicans handle Donald Trump?
Ignore him.
And Donald Trump is not going to be the nominee of this party.
Well, I don't think it's likely that Donald Trump will be the nominee.
Well, I do, based on your theme, believe that he's here to stay for a while, maybe through a few primaries, but he is not going to be the nominee.
Well, I'm going to support the Republican nominee, and I'm comfortable that it's not going to be Donald Trump.
There's not going to be a President Donald Trump. That's not going to happen.
Donald Trump will not become president!
He's not going to be president. Donald Trump is not going to be president of the United States. Take it to the bank. Okay. I guarantee it.
All right.
I think if he becomes the president, he'll make it great, because the States is already great.
I think that man will be president of the United States right about the time that spaceships come down filled with dinosaurs and red capes.
On that note, Tom,
take it from me. How about that?
Cheers, Tom.
And then, of course, there's Donald Trump. Donald Trump has been saying that he will run for president as a Republican, which is surprising since I just assumed he was running as a joke.
Donald Trump, just last week, he confirmed to the National Review that he is again considering a run in 2016.
Do it. Do it. Look at me. Do it. I will personally write you a campaign check now on behalf of this country, which does not want you to be president, but which badly wants you to run.
So when you stand and deliver that State of the Union address, in no part of your mind or brain can you imagine Donald Trump standing up one day and delivering a State of the Union address?
Well, I can imagine it in a Saturday night skit. I continue to believe Mr. Trump will not be president.
He will never be president of the United States.
And we better be ready for the fact that he might be leading the Republican ticket next.
I know you don't believe that, but I want to go on to write it down.
Sorry to laugh.
Next.
Okay, here we are. And which Republican candidate has the best chance of winning the general election?
Of the declared ones, right now, Donald Trump.
And so, right now, Mr. Trump, to answer your call for political honesty, I just want to say, you're not going to be president, all right? But come on, buddy. All, let's say, cow poo-poo aside, there is zero chance we'll be seeing you being sworn in on the Capitol steps with your hand on a giant golden Bible.
I'll make a prediction, though, for you. And I don't really get into predictions much, but this one I'll go way out on a limb. Donald Trump will never, ever be president of the United States. That Trump should not be in this race. He's an absurdity. He is a travesty.
Donald Trump will never be elected president of the United States.
Donald Trump is a here today, gone tomorrow candidate for president of the United States. Donald Trump is not going to be president of the United States. Ever respectful of the fact that the people have not voted, he's not going to be president of the United States.
Let's be clear. Donald Trump will lose the election.
I mean, he had a really good chance to be different and really have a chance to change things, but he doesn't do the work. He's lazy.
And those were just the critics before President Trump, then candidate Trump, won the Republican nomination. After he won the nomination, because remember, he was supposed to lose the primaries. He was supposed to lose the primaries big time. They never would recognize him as the front runner. And yet, when he won the nomination very handily, after the convention, the criticism didn't go away. The "well, Trump can't win" didn't go away. If anything, it just got worse. But before we get to that, let's pause for a brief commercial from our sponsor, the Barnes Review magazine.
Your web browser and type in www.barnesreview.org and discover the Barnes Review magazine. In the Barnes Review, you will read vignettes of man, from the prehistoric to the very recent, from forgotten races and civilizations to first-person accounts of World War II and the late Cold War. There is no more interesting magazine published today, nor a more significant and important subject than real history. So visit www.barnesreview.org and subscribe to the Barnes Review. You can subscribe to receive the Barnes Review magazine in its print form, or in convenient electronic delivery. Our host has been a subscriber to both formats for years. So visit www.barnesreview.org and subscribe to the Barnes Review.
Of course, then there were the criticisms, and then there were the naysayers, and then there were the, oh, Trump can never win after he won the nomination. Okay, so Trump managed to win the Republican nomination, but he'll never win the general election.
We talk about him every day, and we continuously bash him.
He's not going to be the president. Don't worry about it.
Exactly.
This will be a wake-up call to the Republican Party. Despite Boris thinking that Donald Trump could win New York, like this, the presidential race is over.
Could I just cut through? I have one thing to say, one thing only, and that is that this race is over. Tomorrow morning, the money will dry up. The Republicans will start to hide. Trump has no place to go. This race, effectively, as of tonight, is no longer a presidential race. I mean, everything I know about presidential politics, and I've been through 5 of them, I've never seen one like this. This race is over. You might as well accept it. And the question now is, how do you minimize damage? And the only way you can do that, it seems to me, is to try to grab hold of some old conservative value things and do what Mondale did in '84, which was try to save a few people down ballot. But as far as Donald Trump's concerned, it will never, ever, ever happen.
President Obama will go down as perhaps the worst president in the history of the United States! Exclamation point. At real Donald Trump. Well, at real Donald Trump, at least I will go down as a president.
Our new NBC News SurveyMonkey poll is out today. It puts Hillary Clinton up by 10 points over Donald Trump. And this is not the first poll since the conventions to give Clinton a double-digit lead. This is actually the 4th. 4 polls that have Clinton up by more than 10 points, or at least 10 points. Sustain the kind of lead she has leaped out into this race, you could see other states that suddenly get crazy, states you wouldn't have even imagined, like a South Carolina, even a Texas. They could at least become competitive. And what it would mean doesn't mean Hillary Clinton's going to win all of these. It means we could have more competitive states than we ever imagined. That's the way to lay the land right now at this low moment for Donald Trump. We'll be back right after this.
Extra, read all about it.
If you're like me, and I'll bet you are, you like to be on the cutting edge of honest news and accurate information. You like to hear about the latest financial trends and to know what's happening around the world and right here in the United States. The things that can directly impact you, your life, and the life of your family. And if you're like me, you do not rely on the mainstream media to obtain this information because, frankly, you know that you just can't trust them. Fortunately, there is an alternative news outlet with a long-established track record for honesty and integrity, and that is the American Free Press. 26 times a year, the American Free Press newspaper can be delivered to your door, packed with the kind of uncensored news that I know you're going to appreciate. AFP covers the stories and tells the truth that the lamestream media is frankly scared to touch. And AFP offers real, on-the-scene reporting and commentary, the likes of which you will never see in the Washington Post, the New York Times, ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, or just about any other lamestream news source that you can think of. That's right, there's only one national populist news weekly staffed by an unsurpassed team of veteran investigative journalists who will dare to rip the veil off of many of the major news stories that are being censored and suppressed by the big money-controlled media monopoly. And that's the American Free Press. AFP publishes exciting, in-depth, uncensored news and information that's grassroots and patriotic, information that Americans need to know in order to combat the growing police state. AFP stands firmly against the New World Order and against those who are working to establish a global plantation under the rule of a powerful few. In short, AFP is your voice. If you have any doubt why they want to silence AFP, you must be relying on the lamestream media for your news, and folks, that's a big mistake. If you're ever dissatisfied with your subscription to the American Free Press, their guarantee is that you just drop them an email and they will gladly refund the unused portion of your subscription. So what are you waiting for? Visit www.americanfreepress.net. Once again, www.americanfreepress.net. And find out about the American Free Press. Do it today.
Extra, extra, read all of them.
There were all of those Electoral College projections, and they were putting up the maps, and they were showing the states. And, of course, all of the mainstream media outlets were certain that there was no possible Electoral College path for Donald Trump. And yet, literally, Trump mopped up the floor with Hillary in the Electoral College on election night.
With David Hundo P. Plouffe, man who says Hillary Clinton has a 100% chance of winning. So that means that no scenario that we could lay out to get Donald Trump to 270 electoral votes is something he would buy. So we thought we'd get David in here to look at those scenarios that the Republicans are talking about, citing them as a potential path to victory, and explain to us why they are not just implausible, but impossible.
And if you look at Wisconsin, the Marquette poll came out yesterday. She's up 6 points. She's up 4 points in our polling in Pennsylvania. If she keeps those together, all she needs is New Hampshire, and she puts the race away, and she's up there.
Well,
so
for
again,
them, the whole Colorado. I mean, for them to look at fortune, and it is true, fortune favors the bold. Yeah. But if the Comey bomb didn't get them where they need to be, that really is the question, right?
It's it'll be interesting tomorrow night, I think, when Hillary Clinton wins, that Donald Trump will have lost this election from the very first day he announced.
If the numbers bear out what we're seeing thus far, Hillary Clinton will win Florida. And the delicious irony in this is that Donald Trump will have been kept from the White House by a big, beautiful brown wall.
And of course, the only brown wall that Donald Trump had to worry about was the one that he couldn't get the funding to build at the southern border. And with that, we're going to break for a quick commercial from our friends over at the Christendom Curriculum, and then we'll be back with more TBR Radio Presents, the Dixie Heritage
Christendom Curriculum. You know, every parent who decides to homeschool wants to secure a great education for their child, while also saving time and money. But these days, many parents have another concern. They also want a homeschool curriculum without all the multiculturalist, politically correct diversity doctrine that's really little more than a thin disguise for an anti-Christian, anti-American, and anti-Western civilization bias. Now there is such a curriculum. The Christendom curriculum gives your children a complete education in Bible, history, literature, and more, focusing on the classic academic skills of reading, writing, and arithmetic. But we also tell the story of Christendom, the story of the Christian nations, especially as Christ's kingdom has been historically manifest in the nations of Europe and America, and we do so without apology. The Christendom curriculum is the only Christian nationalist homeschool program you'll find. We support the right of the European and American peoples to their historic Christian cultures against the globalist leftists who want to destroy those cultures. Not only that, but we provide assigned reading courses for various hot-button subjects in our current culture wars, including feminism, social justice, and cultural Marxism, among others. These reading courses will teach your kids how to survive a social justice warrior attack, how to debate with leftists on social media, how to reform their local churches and communities, and more. We're living in a time of tremendous historical and social change. Christians have the opportunity now to begin building the culture and civilization of the next 1,000 years and beyond. It's an exciting time to be alive. So if you want to help raise the next generation of culture warriors, if you want your children to grow up with a love for Christ's kingdom and for their own nation, while at the same time learning how to defend America and rebuild the West, the easy-to-use Christendom curriculum is for you. Click the Learn More button to get in on the action. And thanks for listening.
Oh, how sweet it is, as Jackie Gleason used to say, and how sweet it was to watch the election night results back in 2016. I was tuned into CNN for most of it, and the reason why was because I just loved the look on Wolf Blitzer's face, and the look on Anderson Cooper's face, and the look on John King's face. I just loved the look on their faces. Donna Brazil, the look on her face. When Donald Trump was literally sweeping the electoral map.
And CNN projects Donald Trump will carry the state of Florida, Kentucky, Indiana, West Virginia, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Mississippi, South Carolina, Alabama, Kansas, with its 6 electoral votes, Nebraska with its 5 electoral votes, and Wyoming with its 3 electoral votes. North Dakota with its 3 electoral votes, and South Dakota, Texas, Arkansas. He has now taken the lead. Donald Trump has 128 electoral votes. Louisiana, the state of Montana, Missouri, Ohio. He has 167 electoral votes compared to Hillary Clinton's 109. Idaho, North Carolina, Georgia, Iowa, Utah, Wisconsin, Arizona.
But we should really just take a moment here and look at this. Pollsters predicted that Hillary Clinton was going to have not just a victory, but that she was going to win an electoral landslide. Not only is that not happening, it is entirely possible that Donald Trump is truly redrawing the map the way that he said he was going to. It was Donald Trump versus almost all the experts, and as of right now, it looks like Donald Trump was right.
And then there was that moment that I had waited up all night for. It was about 3 o'clock or so in the morning, just a few minutes after 3 a.m. Eastern Time. I was in my home in Florida, and they couldn't deny it anymore. The votes were in, and CNN had to declare Donald Trump the winner. And to see the looks and the expressions of Wolf Blitzer and of Jake Tapper and of Van Jones, it was worth staying up for.
How probable is this, what we're seeing right now, that Donald Trump has defeated Hillary Clinton to become president-elect of the United States?
There has never been anyone elected to the presidency of this country who had not at least served in government or the military before. He is as much of an outsider as possible, using those as the parameters. It's quite remarkable, and it really says something very different about the world that we're in now and what at least a plurality of Americans want. It was on this day in 1989 that the Berlin Wall started to come down, and now In 2016, the U.S. has just elected somebody who one of his policy proposals, perhaps his main policy proposal, is building a wall so many years after that Berlin Wall came down. It is a time when the United States seems to be saying to its leaders, we want more attention paid to what's going on here at home.
And you see him walking into that crowd. It's after 3 a.m. here on the East Coast. He's in New York City. Didn't carry his home state of New York, but he got more than enough electoral votes, Dana, to become the president-elect of the United States. And he pledged to work with Democrats. He said even those who didn't support him, he said there were a few, he said he pledged to work with them going forward.
People have talked about a miracle. I'm hearing about a nightmare. It's hard to be a parent tonight for a lot of us. You tell your kids, don't be a bully. You tell your kids, don't be a bigot. You tell your kids, do your homework and be prepared. And then you have this outcome, and you have people putting children to bed tonight, and they're afraid of breakfast. They're afraid of, how do I explain this to my children? I have Muslim friends who are texting me tonight saying, should I leave the country? I have families of immigrants that are terrified tonight. This was many things. This was a rebellion against the elites. True, it was a complete reinvention of politics and polls, it's true. But it was also something else. We've talked about race. I mean, we've talked about everything but race tonight. We've talked about income. We've talked about class. We've talked about region. We haven't talked about race. This was a white lash. This was a white lash against a changing country. It was a white lash against a black president in part. And that's the part where the pain comes. And Donald Trump has a responsibility tonight to come out and reassure people that he is going to be the president of all the people who he insulted and offended and brushed aside. Yeah, when you say, you want to take your country back, you got a lot of people who feel that we're not represented well either. But we don't want to feel that someone has been elected by throwing away some of us to appeal more deeply to others. So this is a deeply painful moment tonight. I know it's not just about race. There's more going on than that. But race is here, too. We got to talk about it.
Hello, I'm Tom Strain, Lieutenant Commander-in-Chief of the Sons of Confederate Veterans. The Confederate flag, Confederate symbols, and the reputation of our Confederate ancestors has come under attack. The Sons of Confederate Veterans is actively fending off our detractors, but there is only so much that we can do. We need your help. Contact your local, state, and national elected politicians and tell them that you will not tolerate these attacks on our heritage. You can also visit scv.org, download an application to join us in our fight to preserve our Southern heritage. Visit scv.org today. If you don't have a Confederate ancestor and you are tired of American history disappearing, you can assist us by becoming a friend of the SCV. Please visit scvheritagedefense.org and make a donation to the Heritage Defense Fund. We hope that you will join us in the fight to defend the Confederate soldiers' good name.
Defeated Hillary Clinton to become president-elect of the United States.
Sorry to keep you waiting. Complicated business. Complicated.
This is not the outcome we wanted or we worked so hard for. And I'm sorry that we did not win this election.
I love this country.
The shockwaves from Donald Trump's victory continue to be felt across America and around the world.
Donald Trump wird der 45.
Élu Donald Trump, President-elect Donald Trump.
Everyone was wrong. The backlash begins. Some magazines are facing big embarrassments today. Newsweek had already shipped out this cover, Madam Secretary, but quickly had to change it to this, President Trump.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
That I will faithfully execute.
That I will faithfully execute.
The office of President of the United States.
The office of President of the United States.
And will, to the best of my ability.
And will, to the best of my ability.
preserve, protect, and defend.
Preserve, protect, and defend.
The Constitution of the United States.
The Constitution of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
So please don't lose hope, folks, because this election is far from over. We went from Trump can't win, Trump can't win, Trump can't win, Trump can't win, Trump can't win. Okay, so Trump won the Republican nomination, but he's never going to win the general election. To hail to the chief, he's your buddy and your neighbor, and of course that being President Trump. Do you remember that scene from the movie? I can't remember the name of the movie now. I just remember that Jack Lemmon and Gardner, the guy who was in the Rockford Files, I remember, they were two former presidents that were kind of stuck together. And I remember they were talking in one scene how they used to come up with lyrics for Hail to the Chief. And Jack Lemmon, whenever they'd play Hail to the Chief, he would sing to himself, "Hail to the chief, he's the chief and he needs hailing." Anyways, when the Marine Band strikes up Hail to the chief whom they are hailing is, of course, Donald Trump, the person who was never, ever supposed to win. So please, folks, don't give up hope. Don't give up hope. Don't give up hope. You know what? The election was rigged. It was rigged for Hillary. Hillary was never in a million years supposed to lose that election. But yet so many people turned out that even with the best rigging in place, they couldn't overcome the votes that real people cast, and Donald Trump won. And even with all the things that are at play with this one, with the mail-in balloting and everything, obviously the Marxists are stepping up their game. The swamp is stepping up its game. Call them what you will. The enemies of our very way of life are stepping up their game. And with mail-in ballotings and all kinds of new mail fraud things that we hadn't even conceived of, they think that they can put this in the bag for Biden. But, you know, Sleepy Joe was an even worse candidate than Hillary Clinton was in a lot of ways. And not to mention there's still a God in heaven. And so don't give up on this until the fat lady has sung, and the fat lady has not yet sung. And so, like I said, my bigger concern right now is not Trump losing the election. It's for fear that Trump might not lose the election. Will they take the president out and use his diagnosis with COVID, whether it's a real diagnosis or a fake diagnosis? It gives certain people the tool that they need, the weapon that they need, if you will, to take this president out. Yes, I'm talking about a presidential assassination right now. And that's what we need to pray does not happen. So between now and the election, pray for that. And of course, go to the Barnes Review website, www.barnesreview.org, and you'll be able to check out the great September-October issue of the Barnes Review magazine. Subscribe to the Barnes Review if you're not already a subscriber. That's definitely a publication that you'll want to check out. You'll also want to go to www.DIXIEHeritage.net, www.DIXIEHeritage.net. And when you're there, you can sign up for my free weekly Dixie Heritage email newsletter. And leading up to the election, we're going to have all kinds of results in there, all kinds of coverage, all kinds of things that you'll want to read so that you can stay informed going into this election season. The Dixie Heritage letter is absolutely free. All you have to do is sign up for it, and you'll receive it in your email inbox each and every week. When you sign up as an added bonus, I will send you a free copy of my best-selling book, The Truth About the Confederate Battle Flag. And that's at www.DixieHeritage.net. And so from all of us here at TBR Radio Presents, the Dixie Heritage Show, I want to say that we will be back at this same place, same time, next week. Until then, God bless. If you're watching on YouTube, click like and subscribe.
Will you stop whistling, please? I'm trying to sleep over here.
Well, I hate that song.
So do I.
I made up words to the damn thing.
What?
I made up words to Hail to the Chief. I sing them to myself every time they play it.
I made up words to it, too.
Yeah, let me hear yours.
No, you go first.
No, you do yours, then I'll sing mine.
Hail to the chief, he's the chief and he needs hailing. He is the chief, so everybody hail like crazy. Hail to, that's more or less.
Hail to the chief, if you don't, I'll have to kill you. I am the chief, so you better watch your step, you bastards.